Hello everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Bree Joseph and I'm one of our member educators.
And I'm Mark Ryan, Head of Enablement and Core Communications. Thank you very much everybody for coming this evening. We're delighted with the turnout. It's just magnificent to be in person, connecting with our members and really giving you an insight into what we think RetireWell looks like. I'm going to hand to Bree and she's going to formally start with a welcome to country.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. So before we begin, I would just like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that are here with us today. Alrighty, so I'm going to hand back over to Mark, who's going to welcome you a little bit more.
Thanks, Bree. We've got a really exciting agenda this evening. As you know, CSC has been part of the APS and ADF community for over 102 years. So we've been around for a long, long time. And what we want to do is make sure that we make an impression on you as you think about your way forward into retirement, whatever that might be. And we'll be pondering that throughout the evening. As far as the agenda, you can see it on screen, but first of all, we have Adam Nettheim to my left here, who's our Chief Customer Officer. He'll just share some ideas of what we're thinking about to make an impact with you, our customers, our valuable customers. From there, we will have a panel discussion. The screen will go up and our panellists will come in. We have some really great insights from a number of our team members who Bree will introduce a little bit later on. From there, we have a guest in Anthony Lane. Now, Anthony has come to us as a bit of a mentalist, and he'll think about some different ways to think about your retirement and where you are as a person at the moment to help you with your decision making. So we're really excited to have something a little bit different rather than the standard sort of agenda that you might see. From there, we will wrap up. There's another room this size right next door, and we've got some wonderful people in there that want to engage with you. Refreshments, some drinks. We've got some merchandise. If you're into your drink bottles or your towels, we've got some merchandise in there. And there's an opportunity to give us some feedback on how we shape our services and products for you, right? So we want to make sure that we connect with you in a meaningful way. So please don't nick off without going next door. If you have contributed to the video booth, thank you very much. There is a hamper that we're going to draw as a bit of a prize. If you've done it already, you can have a second go, double your chances. So I think there's been about 20 people in the room. So please avail yourself of a nice little gift. Be in it to win it. So with that, I might hand back over to you, Bree.
Yes. Thanks so much, Mark. Now, here at CSC, we really understand that our members are planners. And that's essentially why we've created this event. It's time for you to kind of focus not about work and not about what's important there, but on, what the next step is. And so I'd like to basically kick things off and introduce a leader at CSC who is deeply committed to supporting members like you as you kind of are in this stage where you're preparing for retirement. So Adam Nettheim is our CSC's Chief Customer Officer. He's really at the forefront of our efforts to provide clear, practical and meaningful retirement support. So, please welcome Adam onto the stage for a little bit of a speech from him. So thank you all so much.
Thanks very Mark. Really nice to see everybody here tonight. You'll notice that I'm the first person who looks a bit like you. Not the young folks. A little bit aged, a little bit wrinkled, obviously grey. So I'm in the same position as almost all of you. I'm heading into my next step in life. I turned 60 in October last year. Still got a bit to do at work. I'm not yet ready to pull up stumps, but once we get a few more years down the track, I'll think about it. As the guys said, really good to see a lot of people here. Retirement is a time of opportunity and confusion, and I've been really blessed. I've been in this industry for about 30 years. I've been with CSC for 8. I've helped a lot of people retire. I've seen people retire really well. I've seen the other side too, which is really sad. You see people who do good work throughout their life, but for a whole range of reasons, they don't have a fulfilling retirement. And what you often get from super funds, and typically get from super funds quite correctly, is a focus on the financials. What we're doing here and what we're doing at CSC is thinking about the things that are beyond the financials, the other things that we need to think about. So it's coming. You probably have a date. I know some people who have calendars that are marked. I know some people who have it on their mobile device and there's a clock ticking. One of them's in the room, seriously. And, that's fine. That is absolutely fine. At the same time that you're doing all of that and watching the clock count down or flipping the calendar over towards your future date, you're busy. You're busy with your career, you're busy with your family, you're busy, with the other pursuits in your life. And it's very easy to kind of push the retirement stuff a little bit into the background. At some point, you'll get to that moment. What's in it for me? This retirement thing. Hopefully you do that early enough, and this is the whole reason for the RetireWell format. Hopefully you do it early enough that you can make choices, you can have thought, and you're not kind of panicked at the last moment about what you are going to do next. We think retirement's not just a date, it's your third act. Your first act is when you're young and generally in your youth. Your second act is while you're through your career, and your third act is what comes after your career. If I go back to my grandparents, and of course, that's a long time ago that I had grandparents, to be honest. If I go back to my grandparents, retirement was very different to retirement today. They lived not a long time after they finished work, and they didn't do much, to be honest. They sat around, they read the paper, they did those kind of things. Retirement's a bit different, we'll get to that in a second. A little bit of stats first. We're living longer, healthier lives. And by 2050, 1 in 4 Australians will be over 65. That's not a bad thing, of course, particularly if you're close to it. You want to be over 65 for a while. But a lot of people are living a lot longer, and at the moment, 30 years is not unheard of. There's people who go further than that, but 30 years on average in retirement is not unheard of. So that's a long time to be retired. And if you're like one of my granddads, it'll be a long time to sit, read the paper every day and have a beer at the end. That was his retirement. I reckon he could have gone pretty well at 30 years of it too. We're really lucky at CSC. Our CEO, Damien Hill, he writes about 25 100-year-old birthday cards every month. So that's CSC customers, CSC members who are turning 100 every month, around 25. So not just 30 years, it can be a lot longer than 30, and my stats might be slightly out, but we did it not so long ago, have one of our members who was 110 and still ticking along. So, retirement is long for some people. Again, by 2050, number of Australians aged 85 plus will quadruple from where it is today. So today about 400,000. By 2050, about 1.8 million will be above the age of 85. So if I can impress upon you any more that retirement is for a long time, please take that away. Our membership typically retires a little bit earlier as well. Our average retirement age, and of course we've got a big defined benefit book as well as a improving defined contribution book, but our average age of retirement is 57, so we're living longer, and CSC members are actually retiring on average a touch earlier. We're seeing a shift. We're seeing, as I said before, with the third act, we're seeing a few different elements. Instead of people retiring and just kind of putting their feet up, we're seeing more people who are wanting to do different things. A lot of people are working, but they're working differently to how they did through their career. They might work part-time, they might change their jobs, they might have chosen, had a really good career that they'd chosen. They might choose to do something incredibly different. And we've had the opportunity to speak to some people who are experts in retirement, and it's really interesting when you hear about people who are scientists, for instance, and there might be some scientists in the room, but they choose to be something quite the opposite. They choose to become a barista, or they work at Bunnings, or whatever it might be, and they choose a very different career because they've had their big career. They want something a bit different in their third transition through life. From a financial perspective, of course, increased longevity means you've got to think about your funding, your lifestyle, your health care, aged care, and all of those kind of needs. That's what we do in our education sessions. So if you haven't already been to one of our education sessions, and one of you might have seen, some of you might have seen Bree there doing some of this, please go along. That's more on the financial side. This is about that non-money side, as I said. As members of the APS typically, and some of you might have also had time in the ADF, we think you are a bit different to a lot of other Aussies. Most people who join both the APS and the ADF do it for a reason. They've got a purpose. They want to contribute something back into the community. It's the same kind of feature that you see with police and ambulance and nursing people. You know, all of them want to do something that isn't just about the job, and certainly often isn't about the salary. It's about contributing something back. So many retirees, when they step away from their careers, realise that the income is okay, but it's the identity, their purpose and their social circles which they really miss. And if I can tell you a story from a previous fund, we had a person who was well financed for their retirement. They didn't enjoy their retirement at all. They opted out of life before they got to that point because they simply did not have a purpose. So they were a 40-year police officer who realised that everything that they stood for disappeared on the day of their retirement. Probably the saddest story I've ever heard. That's not what we want for anybody. So, all of you are driven by a purpose, or we think you're driven by a purpose. You should be proud of that work, proud of the work that you've done, but also proud of the fact that you can step away and comfortable that you can step away from that with your next step aligned, that you don't lose your identity. Retirement can come with a couple of really challenging areas. Cognitive load. There's a lot to think about. And it's one of the things that I think is upon all Aussies at the moment. You know, it's not just the financials. You're dealing with, you know, where's my pension coming from? What do my income streams look like? What do I do about my taxes? What other opportunities do I have for some kind of income? And on top of that, you add all of these non-financial things that you need to think about. So there's a lot cognitively to manage at that time. The social changes, which I've mentioned, you know, losing your day-to-day work colleagues. Everybody, I think, leaves work saying, you know, we'll keep in touch, but that probably wanes over the course of time. And structure. So when you're working, you get up, you go to work, you know when you're going to have your lunch or, you know, those kind of things. But all of a sudden you've got all this free time. So while it's great to have some of that freedom, sometimes that piece of structure that you've lived with for 30, 40 years is really necessary for you. So, you know, having the ability to put some structures in for yourself might be really important. We've got a really great example of what I'm talking about. So Scarlett McCone, is here with us tonight. Scarlett retired from CSC not very long ago. She was thinking she was ready for the next phase. She realised something was missing for her. Scarlett was one of our educators. Again, when Scarlett jumps up on stage, you might have seen her in some of the education sessions that she might have participated in. She realised something was missing. So Scarlett has come back to some part-time work, is doing something a little bit different, is doing some work that's more internally beneficial. So helping younger people at CSC understand a lot of the things that she's built up knowledge on over a long period with CSC. So Scarlett's one of our panel members. You'll see her jump up in a second, and or in a couple of minutes, and you know, you'll be able to hear from her how she reshaped her retirement. It's quite a good story. So Mark said we've been doing work for public service and military people for over 100 years. That means we've been retiring people for over 100 years as well. And you know, that's a pretty good start. Our first scheme started in 1922. That's where we get the slightly above 100-year piece. And at the moment, we're paying pensions out to more than 200,000 people every fortnight. We're very proud of that. Everybody gets their pension packet, which is great. But the next step is more important. So at CSC, one of the challenges that we know we face and that you all face is that no two individuals have the same journey leading to retirement or in retirement. So, you know, we're here to support you. We're here to focus in on 3 key focus areas. If we just roll the slide down a little bit, thank you. Financial security first of all, just to make sure I get it in the right order. That is really pertinent because as soon as your financials are a bit out of shape, your cognitive load increases quite incredibly. Your lifestyle planning, so supporting you to map out what retirement looks like before you get there, hopefully. And wellbeing support, connecting you with experts who can help around health, social connection and ageing well. So our focus, simplified decision making, easy to use tools, education and guidance, health and wellbeing support, including through places like AIA who are providing more on mental health, resilience and avoiding loneliness right now. A really good position for us to be in with a great partner like AIA. And some of the tools that help you stay connected socially. We've got Retire Ready workbooks and retirement health checks online. Really good thing to do, a health check, see where you kind of score, where you might be a little bit exposed. You can find out a little bit more about those things when we move into the room next door that Mark mentioned. And for those who actually do want advice, we've got, as Mark said, the opportunity to book a session with one of our super specialists to help more on the financial side. Too often people are thinking, can I afford it? But what we want to make sure people are doing is, how they're thinking is, how do I want to live? And knowing that they've got the money to afford it and knowing that they've got then the comfort to be able to spend wisely in retirement as well. It's never too late to start. So your future self will thank you no matter what you do from tonight. If you walk away doing nothing, hopefully you've picked up something from tonight, but if you've walked away doing nothing, you may have, in the back of your mind, picked up a tip or two. That's a good start. If you engage further with us or with any of the team, that's an even better start. That's going to help your future self thank you for turning up tonight. So use CSC, use the Third Act community. You don't have to navigate it alone and think beyond the finances. Retirement is a life stage, not a savings goal. We're your partner, as I've said a couple of times, and please give us feedback. Talk to us about the things that you think we need to help you with. We will always pick up the tips. We may be able to do some of them, we may not be able to do others because there is legislation that does constrain us in some areas. So we'll pick up what we can pick up, but I'm going to say thanks, hand you back to Bree, and I'll be up on stage with the other panellists in just a second. Thank you.
Great.